Well, it's mid-July right now, and it's going to provide an update. Not much going on in terms of fruiting or anything, at least for this season on these Manila rootstocks, but lots of vegetative growth. So I was going to go over all the different varieties on here, and we'll get to capture some of the leaf colors and everything. So let's start off with the first tree we usually start off with. The weather's been pretty warm. Uh, we've been getting pretty much 80-degree weather. The mornings in the last week has been cloudy, but after that it gets pretty sunny. So let's see. Let's go ahead and check this out. This is the variety Dolores, flushing really nice new leaves. Right here. This is Little Gem. Little Gem right here. And Little Gem last year, I think they gave me about like 4 really nice full-size fruits. This specific graft right here. And we have right here a lemon zest. Back here is a Fallon. And behind that is a California Vermeer. And let's see. And let's step back on this. Let's see. Right here is Super Julie. I got a sunrise right here. This is a sunrise. And then this is the sweet tart back here. Sweet tart. So everything's looking pretty nice, pretty healthy, flushing, a lot of vegetations. Alright, on to the next tree. Lots of stuff going on here. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna be losing my at least my peach cobbler graft on here. Fortunately, I do have other peach cobbler grafts, but this one I don't think it's gonna make it. It's been kind of slowly dying probably the last several months. I mean, I sprayed it with fungicide, but this is one of those diebacks that happens. So there's 2 types of diebacks that you usually see here in California. One is when the end tips kind of begin turning brown and they keep on dying back down, and that usually happens with usually happens in the middle of a kind of bad winter and spring. The other dieback is like everything looks fine, it looks normal, and then suddenly the whole stem or branch, and if you have a smaller plant, it could be a smaller plant, just start getting wilted, like almost as though it's been dehydrated. And this is what's happening with this branch. I sprayed it with fungicide. It's been slowly happening. Then this last couple of days, it took a dramatic turn for the worse, which was unfortunate because there was a bloom here that had quite a bit of fruitlets. So, oh well, it happens. All right, so that's a peach cobbler. Pretty much gonna lose this whole branch right here. Up next, this is ice cream. Ice cream right here. Bloomed a couple times, but nothing held. Okay, that's ice cream. Let's see what else we got here. Is Harvest Moon. Really beginning to flush new leaves. This is an Alfonso right here. California Vermeer. I got here a Prom Chimea, and the Prom Chimea has kind of surprised me a bit because it has been a slow grow, but look at this flush. It's like an 8-inch long flush, so really cool, really good to see. This is a Valkyrie. Also, Valkyrie has been kind of bit of a slow grow for me. See right here is a Jin Huang. Golden Queen Jin Huang, Cat Saigon. I put on the graft here, see what it takes or not. Let's see what else. Here's a Honey Kiss. Again, very slow grower, maybe hoping for some flush this year. This is a Buttercream. I think this graft is gonna take, but I don't know. I attempted several buttercream graft this year for my own, potted tree, and none of them has taken. So I don't know why I'm having such a hard time grafting buttercream. So this one looks like it's pushing, so see if it takes. This is another new graft, and this one looks like definitely taking. This is a seedling selection of a Laverne Manila. This Laverne Manila actually produces like about like a 7-8 inch long, almost fiberless fruit. So I grafted here to see what it does, because it tends to, at least on the other grafts I have grafted this on 2 other trees, it doesn't seem to want to bloom. It blooms very sparsely. It just kind of just grows, so it's kind of interesting. I'll probably just call this Alec after my cousin, just to kind of give it a name for right now. But we'll see what it does in this area, see if it actually blooms this year. Okay, what else up here? Let's see. This is the ambrosia. Getting to flush. I don't think there's any fruits this year, but it's flushing nicely. This is a graft I made of a seedling tree. The seedling was a Sunpari seedling, so we'll see. Hoping it has a lot of that Alfonso-like flavor group category. The leaves definitely smells like it, so we'll see. This was initially a Malika, but I've decided to kind of top graft a lot of Malikas on this branch. I do have Malika elsewhere, so I'm not too worried about it. This graft right here is a M4, so we'll see what happens. Looks like it's beginning to push, so I'm hoping it takes. Here's a Juliet. This little branch here seems to be blooming, and I will let it bloom and hold fruit. I really want to taste the fruit on this, just because if it goes well, it is something I do want to kind of graft more of it, depending on how the fruit tastes like. So it is a very dwarf growing variety, but possibly more disease resistant. I'm not sure yet. This is a variety called Diamond from the Zero Breeding Program. It's a seedling of Nam Dak Mai, from my understanding. Let's see what else. Here's a Pineapple Pleasure, and the fruits on this looks really good. This looks like it's holding. I could kind of tell already. It's a really kind of bumpy kind of looking fruit. You look at the skin, or you feel the skin, it's very bumpy, but I feel like these are going to be some, at least maybe half a dozen good healthy fruits on this. I'm hoping. So we'll see. Pineapple Pleasure. The first time I'll be able to taste it. I like that it's flushing, even though it's not that strong. It is flushing some vegetation on the end part of panicles that has the fruitlets on it. So kind of a bit surprising for me. So okay, so that is Pineapple Pleasure. Let's see, up here is Safira Lucknow. Very vigorous grow. A lot of these end tips branches was pushing out like 4 or 5 stems at a time, and I broke off a lot, and I'm trying to just maintain like maybe 3 at most on a lot of this. So that's Safira Lucknow. Don't really know too much about it, but we'll see what happens. It did not bloom at all this year, so that was very surprising. Okay, this one is a variety called Sindri. Sindri, Sindhri. It's a Pakistani variety from what I remember. Again, this one flushed out very nicely too. I'm waiting for some of this to harden off, and I'm going to harvest the scions to graft onto other trees. This one also did not bloom this year, so very surprising that it didn't bloom. So Sindri, look at it. It's very dense canopy. Okay. Next up, this is Shawinta, or sometimes called raw honey. All right. Really nice, kind of almost more on the reddish side in terms of the leaves color. Right here is Maha Chinook, or at least the strain I have of Maha Chinook. I have liked the vertical growth on this. They send out long internodes. Let me try to get a better kind of video of it. See, each of this stem is like one long push of like about, gosh, probably about a foot, you know. So Maha Chinook is probably one variety I am very happy about, that I plan to top work a lot of my older trees with. I just think it's going to be a good producer, a good grower, disease resistant and everything. It's one of my, lots of good fruits and stuff, but this one has kind of checked off and ticked off all the boxes you want in a variety that grows well in California. But my understanding, there's probably about 3 or 4 different strains of Maha out there in Florida. So I don't really know which strain I have, but whichever one this is, it's a nice vigorous grower. Okay, up next, let's see. This is orange sherbet. It is beginning to push, but these stems seems a little bit weak. See what happens. Here's another Maha right here. Okay, this is a Saint Alone guava graft. Nice growth on it. Right here is a Giselle. Also some nice growth on it. This is my unknown Thai variety. I'm leaning towards thinking that this is probably Pim Seng Mun, but we'll see. That's my guess as of right now. I need a bit more time. I had this variety for years and years, like over a decade, but I just never know what it was. Okay, here's an orange essence, pushing up pretty nicely. Orange essence. Okay, let's see what else. This is a Sassy Love. I think it's beginning to send out some buds, flushes. Here's a California Rumit. Right here. There's a Super Julie. I just cut this thing off. Like I cut it back pretty drastically because I didn't like the way it was growing. Okay, back here is a Nam Duck Mai Mun. I'll probably be trimming a bit of this off. I've been a bit disappointed with Nam Duck Mai Mun. I have not been able to get it to fruit at all for me for the last, the last 3 years. So, okay. Here's a Malika right here. Here's a graft of Jahangor, which seems to be pushing. So another graft of Jahangor. Here is a sweet tart. Some of the stems has pushed, and some is still dormant but beginning to push. So kind of funny that they're in various stages. Sweet tart. Here's a graft of Julie. I think it's beginning to push. So Julie, let's see. Here's an Angie. This graft was made 2 years ago, kept on flowering and flowering. This is actually going to be the first vegetative push that it's doing. Okay, this is a N12, a Zell N12. Here's a Duncan. Here's another Prom Chimera. It's kind of leggy right now. I need to kind of cut that back. Use the scions when it hardens off. And right here is like the rootstock. This is the rootstock of the Verne Manila. I'll probably use it to graft stuff on and just kind of keep it. I had one fruit from it last year. It was a very pretty fruit when you kind of get one healthy fruits on it. It was the yellow with red blush and everything, but it was really highly fibrous. Very good. Tasted like an alfalfa to me, with fibers. So unfortunately with some of these Verne Manilas, they are very prone to powdery mildew. Not all of them, but most of them, and to different degrees. So this one's flush in July, right? But I can show you some powdery mildew symptoms already. You know, the leaf back there has a bit more leaves on here, but yeah, very vigorous grower, great as a rootstock, but it does show varying degrees of powdery mildew, being prone to powdery mildew, depending on the seedling. Okay, on to the next tree. This tree has not looked great, lots of failed grafts, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just let it hold some fruits this year again too. I probably shouldn't, should be picking off all the fruits, but you know what, there's not many fruits, at least for these 8 rootstocks. So I'm gonna just let some hold and see what happens. This is Little Gem. This is the variety Collar, and here's a Super Julie that is blooming. So here's a Tom Pecan, Thai variety. Don't know much about it, but it's pushing. My EYs right here is not looking good. It's kind of state of dormancy ever since it bloomed. So let's see. Not sure if it's gonna make it. Okay, next up, this is ST Maui. So had really nice deep red new flushes. It's kind of hardened off now, and as you guys recall, the last time you seen it, it was pretty leggy. I thought it was too leggy. I think the growth came out to maybe about here. I cut it all off and trying to save all the more vertical branching. So that's what I'm trying to achieve, get some height on this thing. So it's looking pretty good so far. It flushed, and here's another flush. So it's pretty much back-to-back flushes on ST Maui. Very, very good variety. The only thing I would say about it is the flowers does seem susceptible to powdery mildew, but it's one of those where I think you just have to spray it maybe once or twice and it'll be able to set fruit. It's not the type of variety that you need constant spraying to get it to set fruit. So that's the good thing about ST Maui. Very vigorous grower, one of the most vigorous growers I have grown here in California. So ST Maui. Let's see. Next, this is a Iman Pasan, very dwarf-like. The leaves are kind of reminiscent of ice cream. Excellent fruit. Probably my overall favorite fruit. So let's see. But I have not been able to get this to kind of grow. So let's see what happens here. It's pretty much a mismatch on this tree, because I think the ST Maui is going to eventually take over this tree in the next couple years. Okay, what else do I got here? This is a California Vermeer. All these kind of branches right here. Right here's a Fallon. Grafted it this year. Grafted it. Let me get a date on this. When did I do this? May 26th. So it flushed. Looks like it's on its second flush. So that's good. This is Ceci Love. Ceci Love right here. I removed a lot of the branching on this Ceci Love. It's just hasn't really grown as vertically as I wanted to, but it's looking like it's gonna flush again. So that's good to see. So this is a Ceci Love. Okay, up next. Okay. Let's see what I got here. Most of the branches on the back here that you see, this is California Vermeer. This is a Dupree Saigon right here. I kind of trimmed a lot of the edge of the branches here because I think I'm going to harvest these scions. It's a little bit too leggy right here. I don't really want the growth there. So Dupree Saigon right here. This is another flush of it. Here is Palm Bay. Again, I trimmed some of the leaves because I'm going to be harvesting the scions. Kind of make some backup grafts of it. And Here is Golden Queen Jinhua. So we got some pretty cool branching, good branching off of it right here. It's a fruit cocktail. It's kind of lagging behind everything else. That one kind of small flush. Okay, this tall one right here is it's Hindi Basanara, Egyptian variety. Got some more branching here. And this one in the front right here is Zebda. Some nice branching too on Zebda. Again, this one, I don't like the way this is branching kind of too horizontally for me. I'll be harvesting the scion and making a backup graft of it. Okay, on to the next tree. So this is cack, and cack has like, oh my gosh, this thing has bloomed. None of the blooms hold, but bloomed, it flushed, and now everything's on a second flush. So what you see here is actually a second vegetative flush. It's been pretty vigorous, but some of the branches has been too weepy. I actually removed about like probably 50% of the branches on here already because it's just too many branches, and I removed even some more today. So I'm keeping a lot of the vertical branching. Anything that was kind of going horizontally, I kind of cut it off. And lots of times, it would send out like 4 or 5 branches from the end tips. So very vigorous. So another one of the vigorous varieties, along with St. Mari and along with Maha. So this is cack. Unfortunately, none of the fruits held. I would have loved to kind of let it hold some fruits. Okay, here is the cotton candy. Bit slow growing. Probably a mismatch on this tree. So I'll probably try to make some backup grafts of this when I can, because I don't think it's gonna compete with the other two. So this is cotton candy. Here is Super Julie. Super Julie here. Again, already finished flushing, and it's beginning to push a second flush. So this year's looking good for vegetation. I'm hoping I get some of my trees to the height I want it to be this year. Okay, next tree. Right here's a little gem. I have a lot of little gem grafts, so I'm gonna just go ahead and let this flower and see what fruits. I like little gem, but I do have some concern about it if it was on a smaller tree. On a grafted tree it's fine, but it seems to have a delayed second bloom, meaning that when the first bloom fails, it will rebloom again, but rebloom pretty late. So I'm seeing this on at least 2 of my grafts that it's doing this, where here's the bloom, it's a second bloom, but I'm in the middle of July, so it's a very, very late rebloom. So, but with this kind of late rebloom, I think with an older tree, it's going to be pretty good, as long as you don't have really harsh winter, or the fruit go over winter and ripen like in early spring or something. But it won't be too bad in terms of like on older trees. You'll definitely probably get fruit set on a later bloom. So a little gem right here. Here's Florigon. The Florigon had this very late bloom too. So not sure if any of this is gonna hold, but we'll see. Here's some gram. So gram, got a lot of blooms on gram. So let's see. This is the second bloom. So that's gram. Here is Juliet. There's a bloom, a second bloom kind of hiding out somewhere here. There you go. Let's see. I'm not sure if these fruits are gonna hold, but it did bloom in a good warm time. So see what happens with it. Here is lemon zest. Lemon zest, pretty young graft, but I have a lot of lemon zest graft, So if this ends up holding fruit, I'm gonna let it. So there was a second bloom. Most of it failed, but there's 2 fruits here. It looks pretty clean and healthy right now, but we'll see what happens. Hoping some of this holds. Okay, let's see. Here's another angle of gram, so let's see. I really like gram fruit. I want to be awesome to be able to get a chance to try it again this year. So let's see what happens. All right, everyone. That's an update on these 2019 Laverne Manila rootstocks, and good luck to everyone else's tree. Thanks for checking this out.